This is Super Not. My name is Beth Kelling, and I'm going to talk about spirituality, sobriety, and the spectrum of self. I've loved talking about spirituality for as long as I can remember, and I've been on a sobriety journey since 2020. The more I talk about sobriety, the stronger I become. The more I explore spirituality, the more fulfilled I feel. This is a space for stories and for the moments where struggle meets transformation. This is Super Not. Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
I asked you to come on Super Not because we don't get the chance to talk for more than 5 minutes very often, but anytime it is a conversation over 5 minutes, it seems to get really deep fast.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a really wise person, and I just really enjoy talking to you. So I don't know what you believe spiritually, and I'm curious.
It's kind of an ongoing question. It's I don't know. I always want to learn what everybody else believes, and then try to come up with my own opinion. I'm definitely Christian, but I do go against the grain a little bit. I don't. I don't know. Just the physical church structure is. I believe that people find God in different places, whether it's driving, it's out in nature. We in the Bible it mentions that Jesus went to the garden to meditate. Well, why did he go to the garden? I think a lot more people in the world need to go find a garden. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling in life right now. Like, I just need to listen to the birds. I literally just need to walk outside amongst the trees. Like, it's spring right now, and so everything's brown and kind of gross. But the fact that the birds are making noise and coming out brings a lot of peace to me. And I just need to be out there more. But to find the actual time, are you good at finding the time?
I'm where I live. I'm pretty fortunate. When I step out of the truck, when I get home, I like last night, I heard the wild turkeys, and it was just, I just stood there for 3 minutes, and I felt completely just free of all the shit that was in my head. It just, just taking the time to enjoy the little things. Might sound cliche, but I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's the most important thing is to find time for the little things. And you have 2 young children. So
Yes.
Is it hard sometimes? Like, how do you make sure that you're getting your you time?
You definitely have to catch any opportunity that arises, and try to involve them. I try to, if we hear turkeys or see a deer, like last night we saw a deer, and I told Waylon, oh, listen to the turkeys, and then I feel like it's teaching him to soak those things in and appreciate the little things as well. So it's definitely an uphill battle with children, but it's totally worth it. I love every minute of it.
Yeah. So you said kind of a mix of things. You like to learn what other people believe and then kind of choose your own. Can you go into that more?
Definitely my mother was a big push behind learning what everybody else believes. How are you supposed to be right if you don't know how to debate, or if I think that's kind of where it stemmed from, is me being a rebellious child, and my mother said, well, you don't know anything. So I read a lot of books about different faiths and different religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, a little bit of satanic stuff. It's a little disturbing, but
You read it and thought, oh, I can stay away from that.
Yeah, for sure. And just yeah.
Didn't your mom teach you to debate, though? Didn't she encourage that?
Most definitely.
But with religion, did she as well, or did she kind of put her foot down?
Yeah. She was definitely encouraging to debate everything. Always question everything, and be a thinker. Otherwise, you're going to be told what to do the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to my mother for sure for a lot of stuff. Every morning, since I was homeschooled, I was fortunate enough to have morning talks with her, which were pretty much just an hour-long debate of something, and then the next morning we'd have something new, or but we'd give it about an hour.
Every morning you got an hour, and she would pick a topic, and you were supposed to debate it.
Yeah, or if we just didn't come to a conclusion, we'd give it a rest and then visit it again the next day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm definitely very grateful for my mother.
Were you happy that you were homeschooled? Was it your whole every grade?
Definitely the first couple of weeks were like, hell yes, I don't have to go to school. And then it got a little lonely at times, but
And this was what grade?
9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay. And you're the youngest or the middle? You're the middle?
Out of 4 boys, I'm the second oldest, so
Okay.
kind of in the middle.
Did you homeschool them too?
She homeschooled my younger brother at the same time as me, so we weren't necessarily alone. We grew up as best friends. And then currently she's homeschooling our baby brother. He's 12, so yeah, and he loves to debate as well. So at times it gets annoying and exhausting, but it's fun.
Awesome. I was homeschooled in 4th grade. My mom, I feel like, kind of tricked me into it. She said, this is the grade where they start talking about sex, and wouldn't you rather learn from me than for them? And the new school has new carpet, and you're allergic to new carpet. And I don't know if I actually am. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, Mom. I kind of would get hives from like nylon and new carpet type stuff on my arms. And she homeschooled my brother, and that went well. But yeah, we fought a lot. She caught me cheating. I wrote the answers on my arm.
Yeah.
So it was good. I'm glad that I did it. And then also in 9th grade, I chose to go to the Christian school in Cambridge. I don't know if I ever told you that, but that was a good experience. There was only like 10 people in each grade. And that's where I had to do my first speech in school, where I would cry because I couldn't do speeches.
Yeah.
And I would run off. Yeah, but getting better all the time. Still a big fear, but do you have any fears?
I guess tons of them. I think as a parent, you inherit a whole new wave of fears. But yeah, heights. Scared of heights.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you flown in a plane?
Yep.
You don't like it though?
I've kind of I haven't fully overcome the fear, but I know how to manage it.
You just make yourself do it?
Yep.
But you're never going to choose to, like, hey, let's get on a plane.
Yeah, even getting on certain buildings, it's a little intimidating at times, but
Wow.
just
So you
gotta do
chose
it.
a profession where you're just like facing your fears all the time.
Yes.
Climbing on roofs.
Yep.
Wow. That's
Yep.
awesome. Not surprised.
Yeah. And I tell people that, and they're like, "You're so full of shit," and I'm like, "I'm for real." I think only a handful of people have actually seen me terrified up on a roof, but
Yeah.
you just got to do it.
Yeah. Fears like that haven't, like when I went skydiving, I was just like refused to be scared. You're flying up in the plane and the squares are getting smaller and smaller, and I'm like, I still didn't feel any fear in my body. I'm like, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. But then I was holding on and my feet were dangling, and it's tandem, so there's somebody behind me with their legs around, and we're both sitting, and he's just like, okay, like, go now. And I'm like, no, like, we'll get sucked out, won't we? And he's like, no, you won't get sucked out. And then he just kind of went 1, 2, 3, and we just went. And I mean, so I was scared when he said let go, when I was scared to get sucked out. But otherwise, heights haven't been a thing for me. Planes, I fall asleep before the plane even takes off. I kind of just refuse to even think about it. I'm so good at blocking things out of my brain.
Yeah, I feel like being up in a plane, that's a whole different level of heights. I mean, a building, you fall and you get hurt. I mean, you're just kind of.
I guess I would almost rather have a plane crash than fall off a building.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah. When I was working with Glenn and doing some overhead door stuff, one time a service call, and I was climbing up a ladder, and that's when I had the first time I thought this thought, because I've said it a few times since, is like, I'm just not smart enough to know I should be scared of heights, because I've never really fallen, and I should check the ladder better. I mean, I wasn't great at it. Anyways, any other fears? Personal, I mean, of course, the ones with the kids. I mean, there's a million there. But any personal fears that you have overcame in the past, or that you're thinking you might want to?
Confrontation.
I think you're already pretty good at that, but I suppose we can always all get better.
Yeah. Because there's always a bigger fish in the world. You're always meeting bigger people, and but yeah, you just got to do it, and it feels so good to do something that you're scared to do.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the religion, the Buddhism, the Hinduism. Is there anything from those religions that you've pulled out and been like, I just really like that about them? I want to implement that into my life, into my Christianity.
Yes and no. I think a lot of people like to say that they, as far as forgiveness and grace, I think a lot of people like to claim that they are serious advocates for that, or their religion is all about that. But I would say Christians are probably some of the hardest to forgive, or hardest to handle that topic, and judgmental people are often found in churches, I find. So
yeah, that is true. That really is. In grade school, when I kind of started falling away from Christianity, grade school, middle school maybe, when I'd go to church and just feel like I had to be perfect, and it just didn't feel good, I guess. And I guess I didn't know how to say that to my parents, because they made me go every single Sunday. I mean, they went every week, and they loved it. But, and we even went to a hippie church compared to the one my grandma went to. She went to the Missouri Senate, Zion Church. And when my mom broke away and went to the Lutheran church in Brunswick, that, we sang more and we got to speak our mind more. My grandma didn't talk to my mom for a while. I mean, I was a kid, so I don't know for sure, but I want to say like 6 months, maybe. And yeah, I mean, speaking of forgiveness, my grandma also didn't talk to my mom for a few months when she found out I was pregnant without being married.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, it's a baby. Like, how can you be upset about a baby? Like, obviously this isn't ideal, but it's a human life. And so that's where Christianity to me was just kind of like, I'm supposed to judge people. I'm supposed to act a certain way. I didn't see other people acting differently outside of church. Some people say that, like, oh, I see them acting one way in church and a different way outside of the church. That I didn't really see, but just in general, I just didn't like, I've never liked rules and fitting into anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I grew up Missouri Synod. Every Sunday, going every Wednesday during, Lent. Still go. But definitely, me and my brothers, we like tattoos, and that's not super openly accepted. Mm-hmm. So it was a little different, and it still kind of is. Some of the older generation look at you, and but that's just, everybody's different.
Yeah. Okay, totally like grandma bashing this episode, because that's just another thing though. I mean, I love my grandma, she's amazing, but when I was like 15 or 16, we went on a cruise, the family, and I got a fake like henna tattoo, And she literally said to me, and she's never said anything like this before, any words like this in her life. And she looked at me and she said, if you ever get a real tattoo, I'm going to disown you and come to your wedding dressed as a whore. I was literally like, what? Like, I'd never heard her say anything like that before. I went and told my brothers. We were all laughing hysterically. We're like, you know, that's so wild. And then after my son was born and she got really close, I mean, she forgave my mom, forgave me. She had to be around James all the time when he was a baby. And then I got my first tattoo when he was a few months old. And I just didn't even hide it from her because I'm like, if you want to see James, you're going to have to accept that I have a tattoo. You never said anything to my brothers about having a tattoo. It's a sin for women, but not for men.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Grandma.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I think learning other religions can sometimes push you more into the religion that you were raised into too. Do you have any examples of that?
I don't know. I mean, when I got into demonology, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I do want to hear more about that.
That was super interesting, you know, learning about all the different demons and all that. And then that led into all the different angels.
Who wrote this book about demons?
Oh God, I can't even remember. I'll have to bring it in. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, then it led to learning about angels and there's you know, then you kind of start thinking about Christianity in a different way. You know, it's not some pretty religion. It's pretty wicked. You know, there's so many different layers.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. So do you believe that there's angels around us? My mom told me when I was little that I had 2 angels and that I should name them. And I kept that with me forever. And then I had a reading one time and she said, you know, some people have 1 angel, some have 2, some have 3. And this lady told me I had 2. So I never really, I'm sure I named them at that point, but I don't have names for them right now or names that I remember naming them. But that was really exciting when she said I had 2 and my mom had said I had 2. So what did you learn about angels?
The different types and what their jobs and roles were, and that was interesting. But then you kind of have to wonder, says who?
Right. Like,
you
that's
know,
what
like,
I'm saying is who's this guy that wrote all this stuff? Like, where did he get his info?
Yeah, and you know, I mean, you can't. I think it's just human nature to question everything. You know, even just the Bible itself, like, who, you know, that's a pretty big thing to question the Bible. But
Yeah.
you know, there's so many other books of the Bible that were just kind of left out. So it's interesting to hear who decides what. And
All right, Isaac, you're big into conspiracy theories. What's the one that you're focused on right now? You said it like changes day by day, right?
it does. You know, and this isn't any new one, but probably catch a little bit of flack for this. Taylor Swift.
Yeah. What's going on with it right now? I know that there was stuff with Ryan Reynolds and what's her name?
Yeah, you know, I don't. I can't remember her name. Yeah.
Blake Lively.
Yep.
Yeah. Does it have to do with that? That's like the last things that I've heard, but.
I guess it's like, who is she? You know, and it's like, oh, she's this girl from wherever, and she's just a singer. But there was a conspiracy theory about her actually being Xena Shrek?
And this is Taylor or Blake?
Taylor Swift being Xena Shrek. I think I'm pronouncing that right. The daughter of the man who created the Satanist church.
Wow. So yeah. Were you a fan of Taylor Swift before this conspiracy theory came out? Are you still?
I like how she rocked the hell out of the NFL world. I'm not a fan of the NFL, nor am I not a fan. You know, I could
Yeah.
care less. I just like how she stirred the pot and
Yeah, so you love that one girl comes in, just like makes the whole
fucks
thing.
everything up. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love all the middle-aged guys that are just getting so upset about it. Yeah, that's what I've been on, and I don't know if it's true or not. I don't think so, but it's definitely interesting. And the one podcast that I was listening to, it's called The Rabbit Hole. They were talking about it, and it's pretty convincing the way that they said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many coincidences. You just can't help but question. You know, they look identical. And this Xena lady, she's still alive, but so it's like, well, that just kind of, I don't know, but it's super interesting.
Yeah. I think Taylor is Taylor just because she's dated lots of narcissists and used her art to express that in a healthy way. Somehow she's got to get rid of all that pain, and people can relate. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, she has something special about her. So yeah, that makes sense. So this podcast is also about sobriety. You've never been a big drinker. Was there ever a moment in your life where you were like, I just need to stop, or it just never interested you?
Yeah, so I was kind of a heavy drinker for a while. I started at a pretty young age. Unfortunately, about 15, it really started ramping up. You know, I was always really good at getting it.
I know when I was 15 too, like we would just walk down Main Street and like see this guy riding bike and be like, hey, for $5, could you buy us a bottle?
Yeah.
And I mean, there was never a day that we couldn't find alcohol, whether somebody's liquor cabinet or just somebody going in.
Yeah, it was so easy to find. So yeah, 15 to I guess 21 is really when I quit. I had an allergic reaction that led to a hospital visit, and it was a little bit of a wake-up call.
What were you allergic to?
The wheat.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Yep. So, you know, I tried to go other routes.
Drink things without wheat in them?
Yeah. And then it kind of fizzled out. And then we had Waylon, and that was a huge thing. So for 4 years I've been sober. It got pretty out of hand for a while, right before he was born. I like to travel and explore, and I remember my mother opened the truck door, and there was a bunch of beer cans and whatnot falling out, and she stumbled across a lot of that. So that was a hard thing to face, you know. Nothing's more than a disappointed parent, but especially I really looked up to my mom and still do, and that was really hard seeing her face. So
did she say anything, or was it just her face?
Her face mostly. But yeah, between that, the allergic reaction, and Waylon,
you were like, this is just a sign.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's just something I don't need in my life.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that, so you have celiac or just gluten insensitivity?
Insensitivity.
Yeah. So that could almost maybe be a blessing at this point. It kind of made you start thinking in that direction.
Yeah. And that's exactly what my family said. They were like, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Because I was getting out of control. I was pretty outgoing. I was pretty vocal about my opinions in not a respectful way. You know, just kind of all the stereotypical bad habits that come with drinking. But I'm super glad that I did it. I'm super glad that I went through it. I'm happy that I found that. I think I'm a better person for it.
Yeah.
So.
I don't regret any of my drinking either, because it made me who I am, or any drugs that I've been addicted to. You know,
Yeah.
it's all made me who I am, made me stronger, made me understand other people's
Exactly. Yes.
addictions.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't help but try to help other people. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know. I like hearing about other people's problems and trying to help them and share my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, definitely. So, any other addictions or kind of addictions that you've gone through and have been hard to quit? I mean, even self-talk to gambling to, you know, there's so many things that we do that are just habits that we break out of. Is there anything or that you want to?
Overthinking.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So
But
true.
yeah, just constant worrying about nothing. It's So I think it's super important just to take those seconds to listen to the wild turkeys or whatnot, just to try to battle that. But yeah, I think I quit chewing tobacco. That was probably most definitely the hardest thing I've ever done.
How did you do it?
I had Lydia, my daughter.
Mm.
I had tried multiple times. It just never worked. I became the biggest asshole. My wife Shelby, she's a fucking saint for putting up with me. Um, but yeah, Lydia for sure.
It was just a click in your head of like,
Yeah,
she's not gonna have a father that chews.
yeah. I was like, just you gotta be a man about it and just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was raised that, you know, you should love yourself so much. You should love yourself first. Nobody else can love you unless you love yourself completely first. But now I'm exploring the idea of other people loving you, you know, letting other people love you can help you love yourself. And that goes along with this idea of like, if you're just trying to quit something for yourself, that doesn't always work. But when you put it on somebody else that you love, I keep thinking of an Eat, Pray, Love when you might not know that book or movie, but she is in like a Hindu temple or something, and she's trying to repeat this mantra over and over again for hours, and it's really hard. So then she starts envisioning this girl and starts thinking about her when she's doing the mantra and putting all of the attention towards her, and then she's able to get through this couple hour long session, you know, which helps elevate her in her meditation. But to get through it, you know, she had to put it on somebody else. So I think that's something worth exploring, is that we can't always quit for ourselves, but we can quit for other people.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Harness our love into somebody else. So yeah, I think that's beautiful. What do you do right now that you hope that your grandkids don't do?
Um, I hope they don't overthink things. I hope they don't. I hope they just are better at just doing whatever they want to do. Going for it. Without having to worry about anything. That's what I hope.
Yeah, love that. What do you do right now that you hope that they do when they're your age?
I hope they have firm beliefs. I hope, but always question everything and be open minded. But yeah, I hope they have a good work ethic. I hope they yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was so fun talking to you. I'm so glad that you came on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Naut comes from the Greek word sailor and means voyager or traveler. Like an astronaut searching the stars, a supernaut is one searching the inner and outer worlds of self, navigating life, consciousness, and reality, striving for betterment. The paradox is that seeking and striving can create more unrest and more unhappiness. So while calm seas may not make great sailors, I plan to explore the idea of light rescuing darkness instead of fighting it.